by a consortium of universities, but in addition, we have partners, and the partners are the local governments that are contributing with inputs, with practices to our project. We also, the second goal of the project is to deliver international courses, and for this, the courses will be delivered by professors from the European Union. We are also considering to have partners from the international market, and we will provide content developed in English, but also we are planning to translate the content to Spanish and to Portuguese. Mainly, we are delivering new curricula, and we are creating a platform for exchanging experiences among the partners. This last point is also very important because we are contributing to build human and also institutional capacities in our own universities. So the work that we are conducting is structured among 9 work packages. The first work package and the first task that we conducted was related to conduct like research that defines the baseline of the state of the art. So we investigated what were the different postgraduate programs that were in the area of smart sustainable cities in terms of what the academia is offering to people who needs education. But we also investigated what was the demand in terms of the market. So what private companies and what governments hiring people who will be responsible for conducting, for defining and for implementing initiatives related to smart cities, which kind of profile of people they were requesting. Based on this research baseline, we also conducted a research in terms of what were the competencies needed in the Latin American region, particularly to consider the specific needs of each country. And based on these competencies and the state of the art, we developed the training modules. And once the content was developed, we are conducting the next stage currently, that is developing massive online open courses. We already conducted the train the trainers, so we trained academic staff in our own institutions in order for them to be able to use the content that we are producing. And the next plan is to implement new curricula in terms of academic curricula, particularly specialization programs and also master programs, and also specialized courses that could be elective courses at the undergraduate level or postgraduate courses. And as cross-cutting activity, we are having 3 major tasks that is all related to the project management, to ensuring the quality of the results that we are producing, and also to disseminate our results. And this session, for instance, is an example of our dissemination efforts. The consortium of universities that are responsible for this project engages 12 universities, 8 in Latin America and 4 in Europe. Mainly, Danube University Krems in Austria is the coordinator of the project, and we use this opportunity to send our greetings to Gabriela Viale, which is the project coordinator of Capacity. The other 3 universities in EU are Technical University of Delft in Netherlands, Dansk University of Technology in Poland, and Taltech in Estonia. And from our region in South America, we have 2 universities in Argentina, Universidad Nacional de La Plata and Universidad Nacional del Sur. We have 2 universities in Chile, Universidad Católica del Norte and Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María. 2 in Brazil, IMED, Facultad Meridional, and Pontificia Universidad Católica de Río Grande do Sul. And 2 in Colombia, Universidad Externado de Colombia and Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería. So after my brief presentation in terms of the project, I would like to introduce you the panelists and what will be our agenda for today. The panelists, I am happy to present the persons who will explain the results and what we have done in each of the countries. Aurora Sánchez from Universidad Católica del Sur in Chile, then Rocío Muñoz from Universidad Nacional de La Plata in Argentina, Edimara Mesono Luciano from Pontificia Universidad Católica de Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, Luis Daniel Benavides from Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería, Lucy Temple from Danube University Krems in Austria, and Luisa Shush de Asambuja from Taltech, Estonia, and myself that I will be coordinating the session. And finally, the agenda for today. First, Aurora will introduce us the methodology that we applied for collecting data, and she will also present the results that we obtained from Chile. Then Rocio will present the results from Argentina, Edimara from Brazil, Daniel from Colombia. At the end of this presentation of the data collection efforts and case studies that we have developed, Lucy will present the roadmap that we developed for developing the content, the courses, and which are the courses that we define. Luisa will explain the next steps of the project, and finally Camila will explain us how to stay tuned, how to keep updated with the news from the project. So this is the introduction on my side. And I will ask you two things. One is that at any time you can visit our website to see which are the news. And for these particular sessions, I will encourage all participants that if they have any questions, please to write them on the chat that is available on the Zoom session that we are conducting, okay? So I will enable now the floor to Aurora for her to explain the results, the methodology and results from Chile.
Thank you, Elsa. First of all, I want to say good morning to everybody in Latin America that is participating in this event, and also good afternoon for those in Europe, because a part of our community is already there too. So thank you for staying with us. And as a member of the Capital City project, today I will present the methodology that we use for the series of workshops that were conducted in Latin America in the context of the project. And at the end, I will present some of the results that we were gathering in our workshops in Chile. So we have these three steps in the agenda: the workshop methodology, result of Chile, and one of the case study that we developed in Chile. So what was the methodology that we started? First, the idea of developing this workshop was to contextualize the training models for the teaching of all the programs that we are going to do for a smart, sustainable city in the Latin American region. The goal initially for the workshop was to identify main competences and training needs of smart, sustainable cities in Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Chile. All workshops were conducted in 2 cities in every country in order to assess the training needs and request all the ideas and the concept that people were gathering in their places. So that's the reason we decided to do 2 cities in every country. Results of this workshop were mainly competences and teaching method identified out of stakeholders like government, academia, private companies, and the third sector. So where the workshop were conducted. First, the workshop were conducted in Colombia. The Universidad Externado de Colombia hosted in Bogotá the first workshop with the Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería, and the second workshop was in Medellín, also hosted by Universidad Externado de Colombia and with the support of Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería. The second round of workshop was in Chile, in Antofagasta, and was hosted by Universidad Católica del Norte, and then in Valparaíso, hosted by Universidad Técnico Federico Santa María. The third round of workshop was in Argentina, and the city of Bahía Blanca, hosted by Universidad Nacional del Sur, and then in La Plata, hosted by Universidad La Plata. And the final round of workshop was in Brazil, in the city of Passo Fundo, hosted by IME, and then in Porto Alegre by Pontificia Universidade Católica do Rio Grande do Sul. So that's where the places where those workshops took place. And then I'm going to present now the main activities that were considered in those workshops. Mainly 3 activities. The first activity was raising awareness. In this activity, one of the members of the project, in this case, most of the time was Elsa or Gabriela, delivered a presentation about the preliminary results that we gathered for the initial step that was the state of the art in educational programs related with a smart, sustainable city that we could find in Latin America at that time. Once this activity was over, the second part of the workshop was the identification of knowledge areas and competences. For this, a discussion was conducted among the groups, and the idea was to identify the knowledge areas and the competences needed to deliver in the new courses. This activity was a groupal activity, and discussion groups was the most important part of it. The third activity was the proposing methodological models. In this activity, we could conduct group discussions, and the idea was to identify which pedagogical model were more suitable to deliver the identified competences recognized in the previous activities. So with these 3 main activities, all workshops follow the same structure. They changed slightly the idea of the time, but most of the workshop were following these 3 main activities. Here are some pictures of the activities in some of the workshop. All workshops were conducted in Spanish in the Latin America, the Spanish-speaking countries, and in Portuguese in Brazil. Then those workshops were recorded. All the presentations were recorded, all the results, and then translated to English. Participants were divided into groups to have team discussions, and then in a plenary session, each group were presenting which knowledge area and competences they thought that could be necessary to be included in the Smart Sustainable City courses. After this, the groups were divided again to identify the most suitable pedagogical model to deliver the knowledge and develop the competences needed for those Smart Sustainable City courses. Here we have some of the pictures of the workshop conducted in the countries. We were very happy to have people from all areas in every city, from government, academia, companies, etc. And there was a very, I think, productive sessions in all of the workshops that we could conduct. Then this was the first part of the workshop sessions. Then I will present what were the results in Argentina, in Chile. In Chile, what we did in Chile, according to the result that we were getting from the participants, and then I will introduce a case study. In Chile, 2 universities were hosting those workshops, Universidad Católica del Norte and Universidad Técnica Federico Santa María, and participants in all those workshops in Chile were 48 people. Each workshop has around 5 to 6 tables with 6 to 8 attendees in each one, and the conducted workshop were in Antofagasta and Valparaiso. Here we could see some of the numbers that we have demographic numbers of the participant. As you can see, academia was mainly a part of this of the participant in the workshop in Chile, 28 people. The second group was private sector with NGO and private companies, and also government were participants in those activities. I want to highlight that most of the government participants were very high-level government officials, so they could really produce very important information for the workshop. So we were very pleased with this participation. Then which knowledge areas were identified? First, the tables were very productive. We had 182 competences identified in 14 knowledge areas. Which area were the most relevant? As you see here, technology and apps got 28 competences, and urban and territorial development, we got 23 competences identified in this area. When we took the CAP for Citie teams, the groups that the project was using, the same competences were mainly, more than 20% of the competences were in the team Urban Studies and Sustainability. The second place was Social Technical Information and Communication Technology. And then over 10%, was the rest, communication, governance, legal and ethical implication, and public administration. So what we could see, what we could see in Chile, that most of the areas emphasized by participants were in the socio-technical ICT. We compared our findings with other countries, and we find out that probably we in Chile were a lot, concerned with technical issues, with information technologies, disruption technology, probably more than governance or other issues that shows up in other countries. The second group was urban studies and sustainability, where sustainability was a very important part of the competences identified for the programs. And business, economic, information and data, communication, legal and public administration management. When we identify those competences, then we wanted to see which pedagogical model were more suitable so we could teach those competences. So Antofagasta and Valparaiso were similar in the competences that we found. The first group of pedagogical model was case studies. Most of the participants thought that case study was the most useful pedagogical tool to use for the teaching of those competences. And in second place, project-based learning was considered a very important pedagogical tool to use for the teaching of the program that we were identifying. Then, when we finished those workshops, what we did was basically try to envision the future implementation of the courses, because we knew that there is not only going to be a group of courses. We will have elective undergraduate courses, postgraduate courses, postgraduate programs, specialization, masters, and massive online upper courses. So at the end, we identified 31 courses out of all the competences identified, and then the whole group of partners were constructing every course and the lectures and the material needed for the future implementation. That was the Chilean experience, and I'm going to show very briefly, one of the cases that we identified in order to contextualize the Smart Sustainable City project to the Latin American reality. In this case, I choose Do Smart City, because this is Do Smart City is a Chilean organization that was born with the purpose of sharing knowledge and increasing the visibility of the smart city concept in Chile. Do Smart City build a smart city ecosystem as one of the main ideas for them, generate and share the knowledge, activate the smart city industry, and also one of the main idea of Lorena Santana, who was the founder of this organization, was to inspire people to the concept of a smart sustainable cities. So when they found this organization, the driver was digital transformation, collaboration, working with others in order to improve the functionings of the cities, innovation, how the city could take advantage of the new technology and face the complex challenges that the city was facing in climate change, local pollution, mobility, productive models. Sustainability. They were committed to the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development Goals. So here's the picture of Lorena Santana. She's supporting us with the development of this case. So we are very pleased to have the opportunity to show the rest of the countries in Latin America this experience in Chile. So at the end, they built what we have called the Do Smart City ecosystem, where they were having strategic alliances with other partners in organizational partners, also with companies that support information technology for cities, municipalities along the country, and other private institutions, and also academia. So this organization for us was very interesting because even though we were in Chile, we were not so aware of the existence and how many things they were doing. So for us it was very, very interesting. Okay, thank you for listening. This is the partners in Chile, Aurora Sanchez, now build this presentation with the support of Mauricio Solar, who was from Universidad Técnica Federico Santa Maria. Thank you, Elsa. I give back the talk to you.
Thank you, Aurora. Thank you very much, because it was very interesting to learn the experience from Chile and the case study, because it's important for us to realize that developing smart, sustainable city is not the responsibility of governments, that we need the ecosystem, and every partner has a role and every partner has responsibilities. So it's very good case study. So now I would like to introduce Rocío Muñoz from Universidad Nacional de La Plata, and she will present the results from our work in Argentina. Rocío, the floor is yours.
Hi, Elsa, thanks. I'm going to present my, yes. Okay, so I'm going to present the results of Argentina. First of all, I'm going to talk about the workshops that we developed following the methodology that Aurora presents before. Then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the course validation activities, and I'm going to present 2 case studies that we relived here in Argentina in the case of the Smart Sustainable Cities context. So first of all, the workshops, we developed 2 workshops, one in Universidad Nacional de La Plata and one in the Universidad Nacional del Sur in Bahía Blanca. We have a lot of participants, most of them from academia sector. We have a little bit about the government sector and the private sector. And what we did was working groups, as Aurora said, and the participants discuss and identify some knowledge areas and competencies and skills that are suitable to develop smart sustainable cities courses. Yes, they presented them and then they discussed in plenary sessions, and they present the conclusions of each group. Here are some pictures of the different workshops that we developed. And with all of this information, we present a cloud of the different knowledge areas identified. There are a lot of words that they were resulting of the brainstorming, and we have some different areas identified. The 137 knowledge areas or competencies identified help to define the whole areas of the project and the competencies that the courses will be have. We have 9 words or knowledge areas that we grouped in the business and economics area, 7 that we grouped in communication area, 14 in the governance, 12 in information systems, 15 in the legal and ethical implications of smart sustainable cities, 14 in public administration and management, 21 in social sciences, 16 in socio-technical ICT, and 29 in the urban studies and sustainability. So these were the 9 whole areas of the project, and both UNLP and UNS were concentrated in these 4 areas. So we have 3 courses of the 31 that will be developed by the UNS. They are communication and social network interaction, data governance and information management, and smart sustainable cities introduction, and 2 courses that will be developed by UNLP, that are user-driven service design and co-creation and smart city application. So we have all these courses, and the next step was to validate, yes, the contents of these courses. And the first project plan was thought to be in some focus groups or face-to-face workshops. But because of the pandemics and the COVID situation, we couldn't do. So we had to implement different activities in the different partners of the project. Some partners make some online interviews, others online surveys, others review some existing programs, and some of them that weren't close the universities could have face-to-face workshops. Also, the project had an external evaluation that is going to present later. But here in Argentina, we did the activities of online interviews, and we have 5 experts for La Plata and 5 experts for UNS. And the results that we have with all the partners is, first of all, a feedback for the whole areas for the project. Then we have a feedback for each of the 9 thematic areas, and also a feedback for the syllabus of the 31 courses that will be developed. All the experts consults recommend that most of the courses are suitable to be developed as MOOC, as Elsa said. So we decide that 1 lecture for each of the courses will be delivered as that MOOC. And the last topic is the case studies that we have in Argentina related to the smart sustainable cities concepts. On the one hand, we have the participatory budget in La Plata. This is a tool for the neighbors to transform the neighborhood. The neighbors make opinion on the distribution of the public resources, and they present projects for improving their neighborhood. We have the pictures of the platform that we have, and the neighbors can present any project of different thematics. For example, it has a lot of luminaries or traffic lights thematics, or for example, security cameras. And then they vote and they select a project for being implemented for the whole neighborhood. For example, we have an installation of security cameras in an area of the city that win the project in that neighborhood. And the other case study that we have is the Urban Monitoring Center in Vicente Lopez, where it concentrates all the communications related to emergencies and crimes. The information entered through a free line, or it's captured by the cameras, and then it's classified and delivered to the competent areas to give an immediate response. For example, if it is a police need, they call the police and they send to that area, or an ambulance, for example. It depends on the emergency. And that's all. I'm Rocío Muñoz. I don't know if I was too fast. Okay.
No, Rocío, thank you so much for your presentation, for illustrating the results in Argentina. Perhaps I would like to clarify that one of the tasks of the project was to identify and to document case studies in our region, in our cities, in our country, in order for these case studies to be discussed, analyzed as part of the content of the courses that we are developing. So now I would like to give the floor to Edimara Luciano, because Edimara will present the results that we have achieved from our task in Brazil. Edimara, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elsa. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Edmar Luciano. I am from PUCRS in Brazil, and I am going to share with you some of our results in the workshops we conducted here, and briefly present one of the case study we selected to contextualize the MOOC and the other courses we are planning. So I will start with the workshop activities. We organized 2 workshops, as Aurora already mentioned. One in Porto Alegre, which is the capital city of the state of Rio Grande do Sul, is the southern state of Brazil. It's where I live. The second workshop was in the countryside at IMET in Passo Fundo city. We have a good group of participants. 85 participants attended the workshops, 55 at PUCRS and 30 at IMET, mainly from government and academia, and a smaller group from private sector and from NGOs and civil society organizations. So here we have some pictures of the discussions following the methodology that all the participants applied. So we divided the participants in groups from 6 to 8 participants. And it's important to mention that we had a very fruitful discussion. Many groups of the workshop in my university, 3 or 4 as far as I remember, they created WhatsApp groups to continue the discussion after the workshop. This is so this showed that the discussion was pertinent, and it's a very positive consequence result of the project when people want to continue the discussion of the workshop. So the groups discussed the competencies necessary to work on smart and sustainable cities, considering all the dimensions we have been using in the projects, and also the areas from which these competencies are part, so groups of competencies, and also the most suitable pedagogical models. 78 competencies were identified. I am showing the first 20, so the ones that were most cited. They are related especially to citizen participation, social awareness, digital inclusion. A good discussion of the importance of digital inclusion were part of the discussions. The importance of governance mechanisms, especially because we are not so good in Brazil on long-term planning, so government mechanisms are really important. The representativeness, assertive communication, data for basis of disruptive innovation, openness, participation, long-term planning, as I already mentioned, innovation capacity for social development, the establishment of a collaboration mechanisms, the understanding of the emergence technologies and how they can be applied, in smart and sustainable city related subjects. The approach of the subject with multidisciplinary themes, understanding, involving in the discussion not just the government but also the social actors, the identification of the demands of the society, the use of data to support decision making, and the improvement of public resources management. So this is the main competencies mentioned. So these competencies, they were grouped in these areas. The most cited, the most mentioned was public administration and management, followed by governance areas, business and economics, and information and data. So this is the main areas considering the participants of the two workshops. Related to the most suitable pedagogic models, we had a very good discussion on it. So this was the models considering as most suitable. Open and active pedagogical models, such as service learning, problem and project-based learning, flipped classroom, and station rotation. About service learning, we have a very good experience in my university. Even developed because an Erasmus project. And we have been applying service learning in a mandatory undergrad course that I am teaching. Another colleague and I are teaching. So we are already applying or try to apply the competencies identified in an undergrad mandatory class using service learning, having as client some cities of the state or some communities in the city of Porto Alegre, and it has been a very good experience. We are learning a lot also on the application of service learning on this undergrad course. Questioning pedagogy was another pedagogic model suggested. Design thinking, gamification, storytelling, and teaching case studies. So we are using teaching case studies in the project, as my colleagues already mentioned and presented. And the participants considered teaching case studies a very effective way to spread the message and to discuss the dimensions and the sustainability pillars that are important to discuss on smart and sustainable city related subjects. So I selected one case study to briefly present now. In Portuguese, this program is called Todos Somos Porto Alegre, which means we are all Porto Alegre. Porto Alegre is the name of the capital city of Rio Grande do Sul. It is a social inclusion public policy focused on the gradual removal of human traction and animal traction vehicles from the city streets. This human and animal traction vehicles were collecting recycling garbage. Porto Alegre was the first city in Brazil starting the recycling in the 90s, but this created a negative unintended consequence. A good initiative created a negative unintended consequence that lots of informal collectors on the street. So this was a very complex problem addressed by this public policy through collaborative governance. Collaborative governance is one of the courses that we are developing in partnership is the Danube University CREMS and my university. We have we have a good project examples on collaboration. Participatory budget was created here in Porto Alegre 30 years ago, 31 years ago, actually. So this is also a good public policy based on collaboration. And we are all, Porto Alegre is an smart city initiative related to smart living, smart economy, and social and environmental sustainability. Smart living because it has been improving the living conditions of many poor people, developing new opportunities of job, and also preserving the environment and creating a better social experience in our city. So these families made a living out of collecting recycling in the street, which was a degrading activity, was a concern for every citizen in the city. We selected this case because we consider that is a good example, also showing that several initiatives on the smart city, they don't need the new modern expense technology, but they can be developed based on other set of capacities. So after the program, the recycling collection started to be properly done by the city hall, not by the citizens on the streets. And several jobs and income alternatives were offered to the former recycling collectors. They created cooperatives, and these cooperatives are part of the collaborative governance decision making. So it's a multi-stakeholder decision making related to this program. So thank you for your attention. The floor is yours, Elsa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erimara. Thank you so much. And it came to my mind two things. First, your colorful slides that were also the predominant aspect in Aurora's and Rocio shows the nice discussion and the so intense and so committed discussions from the stakeholders in the workshops that we conducted. You can see from the photos that there are a lot of stickers from different colors, and I would like to share that most of the participants were absolutely engaged in the discussions and they don't want it to leave. So the workshops that were initially planned for certain time, they extended long hours because they wanted to continue the discussions, and they showed commitment, and they also expressed interest in being engaged with the project. So this is very important for us. And the case study that Erimara showed is also very important because it clearly explains the need for considering the inclusion part in our smart sustainable cities. Yes, that is a very important aspect, particularly at this time. So next, I would like to introduce Luis Daniel Benavides from Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería, and Daniel will present us the experience and the results from our activities in Colombia. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Elsa. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Luis Daniel Benavides. I work as a professor at la Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería in Bogotá, Colombia, and I will present the results and activities performed in Colombia in the context of the project. So first, let me thank the teams in Externado and Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería. They have been working together in the project, and it has been a great experience. So the agenda for my talk has 3 points. Okay. I will present the results of the workshops and the focus groups run in Bogota and Medellin. Then I am going to present the research results on knowledge-based smart sustainable cities. And finally, I will present how this research is influencing the cases that we are constructing to understand the role of knowledge in the development of smart sustainable cities, concretely in Bogota and Medellin. So let's start with the workshops and the focus groups. In Colombia, we held 2 workshops, one in Medellin and one in Bogota. During the 2 workshops, we had 63 experts from academia, government, and the private sector. We developed a comprehensive list of skills needed to design, develop, and manage smart sustainable cities. And we also run 2 focus groups in Bogota with 29 experts. The whole experience was quite interesting because we first created the list of skills needed to manage smart sustainable cities. We then developed the portfolio of courses that I think Lucy is going to present next. And with that portfolio of courses, we wanted to fulfill the gap of education that we found during the workshops. And then during the focus groups, with the help of the experts, we evaluated the portfolio of courses and their structure. So here are some pictures from the workshop in Bogota. It was held in Externado. And here are some pictures from the workshop in Medellin. And here are some pictures of the workshop in Bogota. It was held at La Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería, sorry, the focus group. And here we have a nice picture. We even have time to have a nice dinner in a nice restaurant with some members of the project. So here you can see Edimara. So it has been a great experience for us. Let me now discuss the research on knowledge-based smart sustainable cities. This research was developed with the help of an student that joined the project and developed her research around smart sustainable cities, and it was quite interesting for us. So what is the context of this research? The concept of smart sustainable cities has been evolving. First, a smart sustainable city was considered a traditional city that used information technology. Then city planners gave a purpose to that technology and decided that information technology or any kind of technology applied in a smart sustainable city should address critical human concerns. For example, environmental, social, and economic concerns, and of course, sustainability. And more recently, knowledge was considered an essential asset in smart sustainable cities, and researchers started investigating knowledge-based smart sustainable cities. So what is the problem that we found in what we call the prevailing theory of smart sustainable cities? First, the concept of a smart sustainable city is ambiguously defined. The path toward a smart sustainable city is unclear. And it is difficult to identify if a city is a smart sustainable city or not. And we argue that this is due to let's say, incomplete definition of knowledge in cities. So, and you can see this because smartness is still measured according to the prevailing theory of smart sustainable cities. And this implies that most of the time, only the outputs are considered. And this is what we call instrumentalism, focusing on the outcomes using standardized metrics. And even worse, the instrumentalism has been applied to people. This is what we call behaviorism. And we argue that this way of understanding a smart, sustainable city fails to model cities and people's dynamic characteristics. Moreover, we think that even the theory of knowledge-based smart sustainable city fails to understand the importance of knowledge and knowledge creation in modern cities. So we had this conjecture, this hypothesis. We say, okay, the main purpose of cities is knowledge creation. And we argue that the current theories of smart sustainable cities lack of two principles. Two principles are missing from the conception of smart sustainable cities. And we think that these two principles are optimism and fallibilism. Optimism, as proposed by David Deutsch, extending the work of Karl Popper, saying that all problems are caused by insufficient knowledge. And this means that problems are inevitable, but also that problems are solvable. And we can, if we develop the right knowledge on time. And the second principle, fallibilism, is basically acknowledging that there are no authoritative sources of knowledge and not reliable means of justifying ideas as true or probable. So our current best knowledge, either political knowledge, economic knowledge, scientific knowledge, moral knowledge, or any kind of knowledge, is always tentative. We have to criticize it and correct it. And we argue that incorporating these principles in the understanding of knowledge-based smart sustainable cities, together with a tradition of freedom for conjecture and criticism, may help to understand and guide the emergence of smart cities. And we think that this hypothesis has important implications and reach. For example, concerning government, the problem is not anymore who should rule, but instead what kind of institutions promote rapid correction of errors. For example, the problem is now how can we get rid of bad governments without violence. With respect to the environment and sustainability, we think that good resource management solves only short-term parochial problems. Having an acceptable management practice for natural resources can only solve problems that we already know. What we need to develop is a framework of institutions that promote rapid knowledge creation. This will allow us as humanity to solve unforeseeable problems, problems that we don't know yet that we have or that we will have. In economy, for example, wealth reflects the capacity of a society to perform physical transformation through knowledge and technology. And finally, concerning life, moral knowledge is also subject to improvement. Smart sustainable cities should develop a tradition of criticism, considering all kinds of knowledge, even moral knowledge. And these are only few examples of what we can do or how our theories will change if we incorporate these principles into our understanding of smart sustainable cities. So to finalize, I want to discuss how this new theory of knowledge-based smart sustainable cities is guiding the development of the cases that we are constructing for Bogota and Medellin. The subject of the cases will be entrepreneurship, optimism, and knowledge creation in Bogota and Medellin. And okay, we have two beautiful cities that have very positive aspects, but also have problems. So just let me remind you that problems are inevitable and that solving problems does not eradicate problems, but create new ones. And in principle, more interesting ones. So Colombia has a complex history of violence, development, and inequality. But as a society, we have created several institutions to solve these problems. Let me list some of the institutions that we have created in the last 30 years. At national level, we have a new constitution, a new social security model, a peace process with the M19 guerrilla, a political decision to fight drug cartels, a peace process with the FARC guerrilla, and an independent central bank, just to mention a few of the national institutions that we have created. And at the local level, we have also several institutions. And the interesting thing is that many more have emerged from this framework that we are building. So we have popular vote for mayors, governors, and local councils. We have local planning for cities, the emergence of a tradition of entrepreneurship, the emergence of what we call citizen culture, the emergence of a taxpayer culture. We have decentralization and a tradition of collaboration between academia, government, businesses, and citizens. And the interesting thing is that the society is creating more institutions. Here I have logos of several of the institutions that we have created in both cities. We have Metro in Medellin, Transmilenio in Bogotá, Metro in Bogotá, Ruta N in Medellin, that is a research institution. And in Bogotá, we have a culture, a devotion for bikes, among several institutions that have been emerging in both cities. And we argue that this dynamic framework of institutions has enabled the emergence of Bogotá and Medellin as smart, sustainable cities. And several facts show the progress of these cities as knowledge-based, smart, sustainable cities. We have just started to create the cases. However, I want to share with you some example of the kind of things that we are analyzing. Here I have you can see figures and depicting the evolution of poverty in Colombia, Bogotá, and Medellin. And the interesting fact is that in 18 years, we have an impressive reduction. We have still a lot of work to do, but in Bogotá, in Medellin, and in Colombia in general, for me, it's very impressive, this figure. If this figure is true, I mean, if the reduction is 20 points or 15 points, because there are some discussion of what was the level of reduction, but if we only consider 15 percentage points of reduction in poverty, that means that 7.5 million people overcome poverty in the last 18 years. And that's a big figure. And I think, or we think, that that kind of improvement deserves an explanation. And we argue that a big part of the improvement is due to knowledge creation and knowledge that was created or that emerged in our cities that are becoming or are emerging as smart, sustainable cities. So thank you very much. If you want to discuss these ideas or anything related with the project, you can access the site or contact me through my email. So Elsa, the floor is yours. Thank you, Elsa.
Thank you, Daniel. Very interesting, and your presentation highlights one of the aspects that is already identified by the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in which they consider cities as the engine of human development, yes? And through knowledge, how we can improve the quality of life, bringing people out of poverty, and mainly also working with the inclusion of vulnerable population. So thank you very much, Daniel. Now I would like to give the floor to Lucy Temple. Lucy from Taltech in Estonia, and she will present us with the roadmap that we have developed for the set of courses of the capacity project. Thank you, Lucy. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today until this point already, and thank you also for the presentation. I'm going to be talking to you about Smart Sustainable City Roadmap. Then I'm going to go forward into the library of courses that we've created in the capacity program. And then finally, I will slowly mention a bit about an expert evaluation we conducted this year on the roadmap and the library of courses. Okay, so let's start by a Smart Sustainable City Roadmap. To begin with, what is a roadmap? A roadmap is a tool that will allow us and will help us to guide us towards an aim. So we believe that the roadmap for a smart sustainable city serves as an input for the development of the training courses that we will be doing in capacity. So we use the roadmap as a starting point for identifying the different content and the training needs for our modules. So how did we do this roadmap? First of all, a literature review was conducted where the concepts of smart sustainable city, governance, and roadmap were analyzed alongside the deliverables of work package 1, where it contained important information such as definitions of smart sustainable cities and the current state of the art of smart sustainable cities in the different Latin American countries, both in educational facilities and country-wise. Then a data analysis and collection was done. To do this, a structured literature review was done, alongside an analysis of 12 smart sustainable city cases, both in Latin America and in Europe. After this, the findings were synthesized and the roadmap was developed. This roadmap that was developed was analyzed not only by the design workshops in Latin America, but they also were presented at the workshops in Bogota and Medellin, and the results were then created some changes in the roadmap when this was presented in Dubai and in San Benedetto del Tronto in 2019. Then this roadmap that we finally created again was evaluated again in 2020. I will go into this further along in the presentation. Okay, so let's now go into what the roadmap is and what the roadmap represents. The roadmap, as you can see in the center, has the main dimensions of smart sustainable city in the middle, and you can see the 3 pillars of sustainability: the social, the economic, and the environmental. And on top you have the governance, and at the bottom you have the urban infrastructure. Alongside the roadmap, as you can see around in the circle, you have the 5 different phases. These are generic, and as you can see by the shape of the roadmap, don't mean that they have a specific order, and they are continuous. So first we have planning, then we have managing policies and capacities, engaging citizens and establishing partners, putting this into practice, adopting the solutions and creating knowledge, and continuous improvement of smart sustainable cities through monitoring. Okay, so let's move forward to how did we use this roadmap to create the library of courses. As I mentioned before, we used work package 1, that was the state of the art of the smart sustainable cities, to develop the roadmap. With this roadmap and the work package 1, the design workshops were created in Latin America, where the course design was discussed. Then we decided with the 15 partner organizations in the meeting at the end of the year in 2019, the content definition of the different modules were defined. And then this again was validated in the validation phase in Latin America that Rocio explained. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you a bit about the library of courses in capacity. So the courses basically group together all the different competencies and areas that are mapped into the variety of disciplines that are important for smart sustainable city individuals that are participating in smart sustainable city, and the capacities that are needed for people that are going to be working on smart sustainable cities. These areas are business and economics, communication, governance, information systems, legal and ethical implications of smart sustainable cities, public administration management, social science, socio-technical ICT, urban studies, and sustainability. Okay, so here you can see the library of courses. As you may see, there are many. All of these courses have been assigned to a different area of study, a different thematic. But as you may see, the range of these topics varies a lot. You have from fundamental and theoretical background to technical tools to be used in smart sustainable city development. This whole portfolio is focused on developing competences that are requested and required for future people working in smart sustainable city. So for professionals developing in this area. Okay, these are the rest of the courses because there's a total of 31 courses, 9 thematic areas, and 97 ECTSs developed in these courses. All of the partners are involved in developing these courses. As Rocio already mentioned, some of the courses that are in the hands of the experts at UNS or UNLP in Argentina, but each university has people working on the different topics because each university has experts on different topics. Okay, so to conclude, I will talk to you a bit about the expert evaluation conducted this year, as the validation has already been explained by Rocio. Okay, so we conducted an expert evaluation of the syllabi and the roadmap. So the experts had to evaluate the most important definitions that was presented in work package 2 and the roadmap. They had to analyze the different phases, the structure, the composition of the roadmap, and they also analyzed the 9 thematic areas and the library of courses per area. If they believed the areas were inclusive, if they had all the information necessary, if the library of courses was sufficient, if they were divided properly in the different areas. Also, each of the 11 experts, we divided the 31 courses according to the area of expertise of each of these people, and they had to evaluate the syllabi for the different courses. What did they analyze? They analyzed the learning outcomes, the teaching methods, the examination methods, the bibliography used. If they believed that there was bibliography missing or some key references that were not identified, they mentioned this and these were added. And of course, the course content and what level they believed the course would be good for. For example, some courses are better for undergraduate, others for a graduate program, and if these were also good for online courses like MOOCs. The feedback we got was very interesting. We had very good remarks from all the experts, and we are still working to implement this into our deliverables and to improve our courses thanks to the evaluation done by these experts. And it was very interesting also to see that most of the experts agreed with our roadmap definitions and the thematic areas, and they had some interesting viewpoints on how to do small improvements on this topic. So this is all for now from my side, and I would love to give back the floor to Elsa, and thank you very much for listening until now.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you. Very clear, your presentation. And I would like to highlight here the collaborative effort, because all the courses were delivered, were defined, first of all, based on the research that were conducted by different partners, but also with a very strong effort in data collection to assess the needs of the training needs in Latin America in each of the countries. Yes, based on that, there was an activity especially dedicated to define this roadmap and the set of courses, and the syllabus were defined by the partners in which the expertise was located, and then the whole set of courses, the syllabus, was submitted to a peer reviewed from international experts on the domain. So that's why we can ensure somehow the quality of the training modules that and the materials that we are developing. So thank you very much, Lucy. And now I would like to give the floor to Luisa Xush de Asambuja. She is also from Taltech, and Luisa will explain us what are the next steps that we are planning for the CAP for Citie project.
So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. So I am Luisa, and let's talk a little bit about the next steps of the project. So first of all, I will briefly present our work packages, and then I will explain the implementation phase of the project, its objectives and milestones, and finally the implementation plan by partner. So the overview of work packages. So here you can see the list of work packages of the capacity project. For those who are not familiar with project management terms, work packages are groups of related tasks within a project, or units of work that a project can be broken down, whereas each work package contains certain tasks. So of course, I'm not going to explain all of these, but this is just to give an overview of the project implementation, let's say, and we have like 9 work packages. In the previous presentations, my colleagues presented some activities that were already performed, as the workshops in Latin America, the case studies, and the development of the roadmap, the development of the library of courses. And now I will talk about the implementation, or in other words, how to put this in practice, how to take it from the computer and really deliver the courses that we are creating. So the main objective is to deliver teaching and learning content on smart, sustainable cities. These include syllabus, scripts, learning materials, the cases, using the outcomes that were produced before. So again, the implementation, in the implementation phase, the library of 31 courses that Lucy presented, and also that Elsa mentioned that we are creating together, like all the 12 members of the project. Those courses will be adapted to the Latin American context, and also the learning tools and the materials for trainings will be used to deliver the courses in Latin America. Objectives and milestones. So the objectives of the implementation phase are to develop teaching and learning content on smart sustainable cities. And as I just mentioned, the content will be adapted to the local institutions. We will implement the curriculum in undergrad and postgrad level on smart sustainable cities. We will develop a specialization program. We will develop short courses and develop specialized courses by teaching courses in Latin America, and also monitoring the outcomes and the feedback of the courses. So the milestones. So milestones is another term used in project management, and it refers to an important event or something that happens that has a date, and it's really important for the project. So we have the development of the Executive Master Program on Smart Sustainable Cities, the modernization of undergrad course on Smart Sustainable Cities, modernization of Master Program, modernization of Specialization Program, short courses on Smart Sustainable Cities, Specialization Program, and that's it. So this is the minimum that the project will deliver. So basically, we are committed to deliver all those milestones, and then I will present the implementation plan by partner. So here you can see the Latin American map and our Latin American partners. So again, the project has 12 partners, so 4 in Europe and 8 in Latin America. All of the partners, the 12 partners, are together working in the development of the content and in the implementation of the program, of the project. And the courses will be implemented in Latin America. So the courses and the curriculum will be implemented in the 8 partners that you can see in the map. So 2 in Colombia, 2 in Brazil, 2 in Argentina, and 2 in Chile. So starting with Argentina, so the plan from the Universidad Nacional del Sur, we will implement at least 5 single courses in existing programs. The National University of La Plata will implement at least 3 single courses in existing postgraduate program. And the 2 universities in Argentina, they will create a new executive master in smart sustainable cities. Here, just to make it clear, like when I say like 5 single courses, this means that, for example, we have the 31 courses that we are developing. It doesn't mean that all the partners will implement all of them. No, it means that we have this library of courses, and the partners will select which courses they think it's more appropriate for their reality, and then they will implement some of them in their existing curriculum, or they will also create new programs. Then in Brazil, the Pontifícia Universidade Católica do Rio Grande do Sul will implement a full specialization program, and we will add new courses in existing programs. Some of the courses will be mandatory and other will be elective. The Faculdade Meridional, IMED, will implement full specialization and short summer and winter courses. And also they will add single courses to an existing master program. Then moving to Chile, the Universidad Católica del Norte will implement at least 3 courses in existing program. and they will also create a new full specialization program in smart sustainable cities. The Technical University Federico Santa Maria, we will implement at least 5 single courses in existing programs and the executive master program in smart sustainable cities. And finally, in Colombia, the Escuela Colombiana de Ingeniería Julio Garavito, we will implement at least 3 single courses in existing undergrad and master programs. And the Universidad Externado de Colombia will update the existing specialization programs, and we will also create a smart city master degree. So again, this is the implementation plan per partner, and this plan is still like in the final stage of approval, let's say. And the implementation plan, some courses are starting to be implemented still this year, but the majority of the courses will be implemented in 2021 and even in 2022. And so this is what I wanted to share with you, the plan of our Latin America partners. And now I give the floor back to Elsa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luisa. Very clear our next steps. We have a lot of commitments because we need to develop and not to develop, but we need to deliver the courses that we have been working on. And I would like to say before giving the floor to Camila that it's very important for us, our participation in this project and the relationship and the network that we establish between our partners in Latin America and also with the European universities, because the collaboration that we are maintaining goes beyond the capacity project, and we are already engaged in research activities in human capacity. For instance, we are inviting each other, professors from other universities, to serve as reviewer of PhD theses or journal publications, etc. So it has been very fruitful for us. We have a lot of benefits from participating in this CAP4City project. So we have short time now, and we would like to share with you how we are disseminating the news and the efforts of the CAP4City project. And then I would like to invite Camila Hernandez Echeverri from Universidad Externado de Colombia for her to share with us all the dissemination efforts of the CAP4City project.
Thank you, Elsa. Good morning and good evening, everybody. So yes, I will share a short presentation about the dissemination of CAP4City, where you can find all information about the project, also all the outcomes that we have shown, and also outcomes that we will have in the future, like the courses. So you can find our website on cap4city.eu. There you will find our website, all information about the project. There you can find the website in Spanish, English, and Portuguese. There you will find all information about the project, about our outcomes, about the universities that are the part of CAP4City. Also, you will find the information about events that we are developed each university and also together. Also, we have a button for publication and news. Sometimes we have a publication and text, so there you can find it. And finally, in the future, you can access to the MOOCs through the website. Also, we are in social media, and now we are on Facebook in this live. There also we share our events, our projects. Now we are developing with all the CAP4City team, the talks online. So we invite you to all of you to participate, to review to check our website and also our social media. We have now Facebook. You can find like CAP4City. Also, you can find us on Twitter as CAP4City Project, and also on YouTube like as CAP4City. On YouTube, you will find also information about the workshops that are being developed until now. So there you can find also all the info and the activities that we have done until now. And we would like to invite you to our next events this year for the COVID-19. We have no present activities, but we have online activities. But we hope next year you can participate on our activities and also in our events. We will have some talks, like I say, online talks, but we are organizing also face-to-face talks. Also, we have collaborations, events in collaborations with others university, with other agencies, and you can also participate. And of course, we will have a Cup for Citie talk, I name like that, on Brazil, Chile, Argentina, and Colombia. So please check our social media and our website to know where we'll be held. And on this tour, we will present all the results, all the outcomes, our mocks, and all the Cup for Citie force that we all developed until now, and of course for the future. And that's it. Elsa, thank you.
Thank you, Camila, so much. So we are trying to reach a wide audience to share our results and to be able to for everybody, particularly academic partners, but also government, industry, NGOs, and other stakeholders to benefit from the content that is being developed by the projects. So we were planning to have some sessions for questions and answers. I think we have very short time. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't see questions on the chat. I would like to ask the panelists, maybe Aurora, if you can please synthesize for you what are the value of participating in this Cup for Citie project as a Latin American university.
Thank you, Elsa, and I appreciate all the presentation. I think this is a very big effort of all Latin American countries in order to have a project that can contextualize our local culture, our local way of doing things. So, and I'm very happy to be able to work with all of you here. And I think to summarize what we have thinking and about the value for our institution, I want to highlight first the development of capacities for our government officials and our countries and in our cities. We are very close now to understand what is going on in our own cities and trying to help and support and understand what they are thinking. And because sometimes from academia, we are a little far and not so close understanding what they want. So that was one of the main issues. And the other issue that I think is valuable is the multidisciplinary perspective of this project, because we have worked with different disciplines, just not only for computer science, management, business, and urban and sustainable developments. And these are giving a very wide picture of the whole smart sustainable city issues, and we are now trying to incorporate all of this in our own universities for programs to the community, and this probably will help us to support our local needs and the needs of all cities in our country. So I think this is a very short way of summarizing the main value and what the lesson learned and the replication for the future too, that is going to be very important. And I think that probably this is my summarized way of looking at the things. Thank you, Elsa.
Thank you so much, Aurora, for sharing your insights. Yes. I think we are running out of time. I ask you please to stay 1 or 2 minutes with us. I would like, on behalf of all partners, to express our sincere gratitude to this project, to the Erasmus program, and to the European Commission who is funding, the European Union who is funding the activities conducted by this project. For all universities in Latin America, it's a good opportunity, and really you are helping to building our capacity and the capacity in the region. So thank you very much. In the last minute, I would like to ask Camila, because we prepared a video that we would like to share with you. Thank you very much for all participants and for joining us in this Erasmus Day session.
One picture maybe?
Yes, one picture.
So if I turn on the camera.
Turn on the cameras. Thank you very much. And we can move forward and start with the video. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Elsa Esteves, soy profesora de la Universidad Nacional del Sur e investigadora independiente del CONICET en Argentina. Hago parte del consorcio que integran 12 universidades y que son las responsables de ejecutar el proyecto CAP for Citie. Es un proyecto financiado por la Unión Europea dentro del programa Erasmus+. En particular, el proyecto CAP for Citie tiene como objetivo fortalecer las capacidades de gobernanza para el desarrollo de ciudades inteligentes sostenibles. Como mencioné previamente, el consorcio forman parte 12 universidades, 4 europeas y 8 latinoamericanas, 2 de Colombia, 2 de Argentina, 2 de Brasil y 2 de Chile. En particular estamos hoy en Bogotá porque como parte de las actividades del proyecto estamos evaluando las necesidades locales para el desarrollo de competencias para poder crear los líderes que van a poder planificar, diseñar, operar y sostener en el tiempo las iniciativas de ciudades inteligentes sostenibles.
Está silenciada, Elsa.
So that's all from our side. Thank you very much for participating. And in this way, we close the live session. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.